Staff ready? Okay. All right. We'll now call the city council special meeting to order for November the 30th, 6 p.m. Please rise to the invocation and pledge of allegiance. The invocation given by Councilwoman Brittany McGuire.
Dear Lord, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for the opportunity to come here tonight, Lord, to make these decisions. I'm asking you to give us wisdom and understanding as we go through these documents tonight, Lord. Give us the clear direction on what we're supposed to do, which way we're supposed to go. And I thank you for protection and for good health for everybody here involved. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. You'll please call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire,
Here.
Councilmember McCure. Here. Councilmember Taylor,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Bernard,
Here.
Mayor Anderson.
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right. Item number 4 will be a public hearing for a long-term lease agreement for the Avon Park Executive Airport. Do we want to read the resolution or do we want to go over it first?
No, the resolution is related to another item.
Oh, sorry.
The resolution that we passed changed your procurement policy to allow you to have this public hearing. And so what's need to do is just open the public hearing for discussion and
Okay.
We assume that everybody has had a chance to read the lease and the other documents, and we're ready to make a decision with regard to that. We have a presentation that Lowell's going to put on with, I don't know if David's going to be here, but okay, good. Then you have a PowerPoint.
Okay.
No, just a summary.
Okay. All right. As legal counsel said, this will be a public hearing. So we'll go ahead and let Lowell give us an overview and get started, and then we'll have pose for any questions.
The attached draft lease has been provided with exhibits to the council. This has also been provided to the FAA has requested the city and the private entity with the lease. So they can move to what they call a record of the city, which is their file and their transaction, including the always. So essentially the process would go, the family identity document, so we approve the document tonight, delegating to the mayor. The board would execute the document as the receipt of the organization. So that would be possible. They anticipate and take this plan to do that.
Okay.
So are you going to do the summary or okay? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Summary of the lease. This is not at a very detailed level. These are the summary items I'm going to go over, which include the major key provisions. So first is the rights. The city will pass on the rights to FAM. They will actually own and operate the airport under a lease approach. And in doing so, that will include everything except the utility facility, the sports complex, and Classic Palladium. Those are all excluded from the lease. The city will assign your existing leases that you have for hangar rental and other elements at the airport to FAM. So those will be transferred over to FAM as part of the transition. FAM will assume the operations and maintenance of the airport, including the existing aeronautical facilities, and attain title to certain existing equipment and other elements which are required to be used. Any equipment that is designated for the airport must be maintained at the airport. The term is, initial term is 30 years. under this lease. It can be extended twice, once for 10 years, once for 9 years, for a total of 49 years. There are provisions in the lease that are required to be met prior to even being eligible to be extended. Should those requirements be met, it will be extended for those additional time periods. And those are elements that include meeting performance standards, having good annual inspections by FDOT, those types of elements, as well as periodic surveys of users. FAM may terminate the lease for its convenience during the first 10 years. The city may terminate the lease for convenience at any time. There are certain provisions related to that. That would essentially during the period be buyouts in the early period because there are rights to the lease that FAM would have. FAM will pay a base rent starting in year one. That base rent is $84,000. It would increase by inflation each year during the time period of the lease. In addition to that, there would be a reappraisal every 5 years, and the base rent would be adjusted based on that reappraisal. In addition, FAM would pay, the city had made loans to the airport. They would be responsible for repaying those loans or other advances based on certain requirements that are in the lease document. And if FAM should refinance or sell their interest in the lease, that would be subject to approval of the council, but the council would get a portion of the proceeds that would be generated from that sale. FAM will take full responsibility for the airport. That includes all grant conditions and requirements and assurances. They'll be permitted to conduct aeronautical operations on a non-exclusive basis. And what that means is it will continue to operate as a public airport. FAM will be permitted to sublease elements of the airport that are eligible to be subleased. And there are certain requirements for land that's out there. Some of it has to be aeronautical. Some of it is more flexible, could be non-aeronautical. Within that, FAM will be required to go through that evaluation before they could sublease it, particularly if it's non-aeronautical for that as it goes forward. And FAM will also be authorizing and collecting rents. Those rents will go to them as part of the overall lease. And that will be part of their revenue stream for the airport. And they can increase the rents based on from where you are today, annual consumer price index increases. If they request increases above that, it'll need to come back to the council for review. FAM will also provide you with annual budgets and financial reports so you can track the progress of the airport. They will be required to have an annual bond that is the equivalent of the annual budget. So if something happens and the city has to take it back over, you could exercise that bond. In the last 3 years of the lease, that bond increases to 1.5 years budget. The city will retain the ability to terminate the lease or essentially take over the airport in the case of a significant default or not meeting grant requirements or other conditions. In addition, if they have a bankruptcy, the city would be able to step in and take over the airport. And those are specific requirements that FAA mandated, as well as would be normal business practice. FAM can essentially mortgage their leasehold interest. And what that means is the revenue streams and the other elements that come into them. They cannot mortgage existing buildings. They cannot mortgage the land. Those elements are fixed property that belong to the city. So they would not be eligible, nor would FA allow them to do that. FAM can undertake capital construction, and that will have to follow the master plan. If they want to change the master plan, that has to come back to the city council for review and approval before they can make changes to that. And I know they have some intent to do that, to update the master plan as one of their early elements that they've talked about. FAM can apply for grant funds from FA, from DOT, from other grant agencies directly. They may ask the city for assistance in that process, but they would be the actual grantee in that situation. The lease must take on existing grant obligations. So if there are grant assurances, grant conditions, if you have existing grants that are in operation, they'll be responsible for meeting all those requirements as they move forward. Those are the key overall elements. They're also required as part of the budget to have certain staff, airport manager, maintenance, key maintenance position. There may be a few others that they normally would have. Within 3 years, they have to have what we call a full complement, which would include finance staff and other elements that are part of that. The putting that together is FAM's responsibility in accordance with a lease. It doesn't mandate that all these positions have to be full-time. In most airports this size, in our analysis that we did previously for the council and looking at the monthly contribution, most airports, those positions are not full-time. So that's really up to FAM and their overall desire to operate and maintain the airport in good condition going forward. There are a number of exhibits. I'm not going to go over all of those. As you can imagine, there are everything from the land description to the layout plan for the airport to all kinds of details that go into this. If you want to look at those, they're in section 1.3. It has a list of them. I'm going to go over a few of the key ones. Exhibit J is of particular importance to the council because those are the items you are responsible for approving going forward in this lease. And that includes the extensions of the lease. It includes subleases that extend beyond the term of the lease. So if the lease term left is 10 and you have a lease that's 15, they would have to bring it to you for review and approval because the last 5 years would be the city's responsibility. Changes to rates and charges policy that go above the annual consumer price index. Any city advances, obviously we know about that. Those would come from the city budget. Expenditures of any CRA revenues would also have to have city approval. Leasehold mortgage that are outside of the requirements of the lease. Newer updated airport master plans, revisions to the airport layout plan, which go along with the master plan. Any capital projects that are in excess of 20 million. In complete or partial assignment or sublease of this agreement or any amendments to the agreement. So those are all elements that would come to the council for review. There is a transition plan that's fairly detailed. It lays out everything that involves moving from the city to FAM. includes all the lease assignments, all the accounts and records and budgets and everything will go over from the city to FAM as part of that, the lease execution. And I would encourage, as much as you can, have a cutoff date that makes sense. So that's really up to you and you guys to work out. But in the lease, we probably could designate a date if we wanted to make it simpler, such as in the month. To make it simpler. There are also performance standards is an exhibit that was developed by our technical experts. And they did a real good job with that. FAM reviewed it. FAA has reviewed it and everyone's comfortable with that. So that includes all the technical elements of running an airport as well as some of the other pieces that go along with the administrative part of the airport. So those will be part of the lease and responsibility of FAM to meet those. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Lowell?
We also have David Menard and Nick on Zoom, I assume. Okay, they can also let your counsel on this matter.
Dave Bernard, yes.
Hi, I'm in a hold room, so I've been staying on mute, but if you have any questions on the legal side, Nick or I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Okay. Does council have any questions for
I
either
don't
of
know,
the attorneys?
I don't know if this is for them or for staff, on the two loans that are on page 15 of the original lease there, resolution 1509 and 1510. It says the payments, 16,910 and 15,799.94. It says, original amount. Does anybody know what what is left on those two loans?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
one of them is still.
I mean, I was just kind of curious to see
The
how
other one's
long
kind of
those
partial.
payments would go for.
Well, we still,
And what we're gonna do is those items will be essentially trued up when the lease is ready to execute.
Okay,
So we know those are outstanding items because you're also making advances to FAM right now
right.
per month. So we're gonna true all that up and that exhibit will be finalized on the date of execution.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
well, we still have David. I know he's waiting for a flight and might have to take off. So I just wanted to read the potential motion to approve here that I'll read again and then somebody can say so moved later on if you got all your questions answered. So a potential motion would be a motion to approve the agreement of lease for the Avon Park Executive Airport, subject to FAA record of decision without changes being finalized and documents required for closing after issuance of the record of decision. Those two items. And of course, at that closing, then the signature will be affixed by the city to this agreement that occurred after the FAA approval. David, do you have any changes to that?
No, I don't have any changes to suggest. If we do get comments back from the FAA, we will have to come back. I'd be a little surprised because we got a very clean opinion from the FAA when we met with them a few weeks ago.
Okay, so if you have any additional questions, go ahead and ask them. And otherwise, I'll read this question for somebody to move.
Go ahead.
Any further questions?
Okay, so somebody could make a motion to approve the agreement of lease for Avon Park Executive Airport, subject to FAA record of decision without changes and documents required for a closing after issuance of the record of decision. Somebody can say so moved if they wish to approve it.
So move.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Okay, I'll ask again if there's any questions. Keep in mind, this is a public hearing. So is anyone from the audience that would like to ask any questions or have any comments are welcome to do so.
Okay, you might want to mention for the record that nobody is raising their hand for discussion.
We have no discussion, so the public hearing is now closed. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Last call for questions. If there are none, we'll call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire,
Yes.
Councilmember McCure,
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard,
Yes.
Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you very much. Well, to all the staff members and all the members of FAM, it's been a long time coming. We're a little closer.
Thank you.
We're all looking forward to see what you guys can do and what kind of progress we can make out there. So we certainly wish you all the best, and we will do the best that we can to dot our i's and cross our t's as the FAA tells us what to do. So
I think that concludes our business with regard to that item. We do have one additional item that we need to discuss so we can get this in play. This is a resolution adopting the lien reduction policy. And what this is basically, we reformulate this with the assistance of the city manager, Randy, myself, and Councilmember McGuire. We got together and discussed the best way to handle this, and this is the result of that. And so if somebody has had the chance to look this over and feels like they'd like to move forward with it, we do have some people that are just tugging at the bit to get their liens considered.
any preliminary comments before we read the resolution?
No.
Seeing none. Jerry, do you want to go ahead and read that in the record?
A resolution of the City Council of Avon Park, Florida, providing for a standard procedure for considering requests for code enforcement lien reductions, providing for an effective date.
All right. Any questions on this resolution or comments?
Have none.
If there are no questions, do we have a motion to approve resolution 2023-27?
So move.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I'll ask once again, any questions? Seeing none, we will call the roll.
I'm sorry, Councilmember McGuire,
Yes.
Councilmember McCure,
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard,
Yes.
Mayor Anderson,
Yes,
motion passes.
thank you. That concludes our scheduled business for the special meeting. There's no objections. We have a motion to close. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, please.
Seeing no opposition, we are adjourned. Thanks, Jerry.